I just scanned the room, and everything in my visual field changed, and I interpreted the different things that changed. And I remembered walking down the street, coming over here, talking to 2 or 3 people who came up to me as I walked along, and chatted about this and that. And that's all changed. Everything is changing, and my consciousness, as I react to these different things, changes. But if I look back, if I turn my view backwards into what's the ultimate register of my experience, I feel there's some unchanging Bob in there. And it all happened to me, and then therefore there's a fixed thing that's just always me. I think I used the analogy, but I don't remember if it was in this class, of when you look at a photo of yourself some years ago at an event, and then you sort of try to remember the event, and if you can, sometimes we can't remember when and where it was, but when we do, then the moment when we sort of remember it is when we're back in the scene in memory, and we feel we're the same there. But of course we can see years ago we were quite different. We know lots of different things have happened to us, we've been affected by different experiences, but there's a sense that there's a fixed thing there that handles it all. And that is the proposition of many of the Indian schools at this time and later, that there's an ultimately fixed self, and that the quest for those schools, is to find their supreme self, which is an ultimately fixed and unchanging thing. And that is what the Buddha denied existed from his experience. I mean, he claimed it from his experience. So that's what one is empty of, that's what one is lacking, so therefore selfless. Okay? So the relative self is lacking a fixed absolute self, is the idea. Do you follow? And the fixed also the actual one is where one is completely different from everything else. So one is in a position that I am me, and then everything else is different from me. And therefore, for example, in relationships, when one has a loving relationship with someone and someone else seems to really like you, it's like a surprise and a great thing. Obviously, all of us were really liked by our parents, or we wouldn't have survived. And at least at first they liked us. Maybe they got sick of us later, but they liked us at first. And so then that was really great, But still, it's problematic because, of course, a lot of people don't like us. And we feel sort of they're sort of strange and different and alien. And then not only people, but other animals and microvirus, bacteria and things, they don't like us, or they do like us too much, maybe make us sick. And so that's a very key thing for the Buddha, that this sense of being the absolute separate self, apart from everything else in the world, and therefore confronting the rest of the world, that self, that does not exist. There's a relational self that is different relationally from other things, but also interrelates with them. And sort of the boundaries are a little bit arbitrary. That's the basic idea. So therefore, Buddha's real thing of being celebrated is not like they do have verses like the great thing he discovered selflessness, but an emptiness, and it is a great discovery. Actually, it was a great discovery in its context, and even for an individual, it is a great discovery in their life. But what he's really celebrated for is the discovery of causation, of relativity. I think I mentioned to you the verse of Dharma hetu prabhava. Hetu means a cause. So whatever comes from causes, what are the causes, and then how to interfere with them, how to cease them, terminate those causes of some negative things. That's what the Buddha's great invention, so to speak, the great discovery. That's what they always say.